Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our forum. Community Pharmacists Ready to Vaccinate. Brought to you by Rhazes Telepharmacy, the first knowledge-based service telepharmacy in the country. I am Santhanathan, your moderator for today. I'm a senior lecturer at Universiti Kuala Lumpur, Royal College of Medicine, Perak. A bit about Rhazes Telepharmacy. Rhazes Telepharmacy is a new digital pharmacy technology service provider that connects the public with consultants, specialists, and subject matter experts in the field of pharmaceutical healthcare. Now let's get back to our topic. Are community pharmacists ready to vaccinate? The word vaccine has become a household word among everyone today, thanks to the COVID-19 pandemic. There are many questions rather than answers about this pandemic. Of course, you could Google, you could WhatsApp, you could WeChat or whatever social media, but the reliability of the information is at stake. Okay, and then we also can't forget the anti-vaxxers. So with that in mind, Rhazes Telepharmacy has brought together two distinguished ladies in their own capacity to expound more on the topic of COVID-19 vaccines, okay, with emphasis on the role of community pharmacists and their potential role in disseminating information, facts, and allaying fears among the public, as community pharmacists are considered liners too. In this 1 hour of discussion, we will also talk about the MPS Immunization Advocacy Chapter, MIAC, and the role played by MPS, Malaysian Pharmacy Society, during this pandemic. We have two panelists today. First, we have Datin Mariani Ahmad Nizaruddin, a registered pharmacist from the Faculty of Pharmacy, Universiti of Cyberjaya, and also Vice President 1 and Chair of the Community Pharmacy Chapter, Malaysian Pharmacy Society. And we have Puan Hafzan Hanafiah, lecturer from the discipline of Clinical Pharmacy, School of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Universiti Sains, Malaysia. While we are at this forum, there are 2 points to ponder for your attention. There will be an online poll targeting the community pharmacists titled, "Are you ready to be vaccinated?" Or, more likely, "Are you ready to be a vaccinator?" That is what our main objective of this forum, to discuss about it. So there'll be a poll on this. So please participate at the end of the forum, and there will be an online CPD point courtesy of Malaysian Pharmacy Society. We will be giving you a QR code, which once you have scanned, you'll be able to go further. Let's get back to the forum proper. Are community pharmacists ready to vaccinate? Good morning, Datin and Puan Hafzan.
Good morning.
How's your day today?
So far, so good.
Okay, let's start the ball rolling. The role of community pharmacists in the current pandemic has come under scrutiny. Datin, besides being the head of the Department of Community Pharmacy Practice at the University of Cyberjaya, you are also very active in Malaysian Pharmacy Society. In the recent years, we have seen MPS coming out with several initiatives, but the most interesting one that involves the nation at large and community pharmacists specifically has been about vaccination. So Datin, can you enlighten us on what has been the action so far?
Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum and good morning to all pharmacists and all that are watching today. Thank you, Rhazes Telepharmacy, for the kind invite. Mr. Santa, before we talk about what is the pharmacist's role today, I would just like to share some information about how our journey has been during this COVID pandemic. Way back in 2019, when we started to look into expanded roles of community pharmacists, the MPS took a lot of good points and took the leadership of the WHO and the FIP, which is the International Federation of Pharmaceutical Societies, FIP, to look into what roles the pharmacists, the community pharmacists in our country play. And we play a very important role. As you remember, when COVID started to become more and more concerning, a lot of confusion arose about a community pharmacy. So what we did during that time, around the months of March to June, in the Malaysian Pharmaceutical Society, was to engage with several ministry and agencies, such as the Domestic Trade Agency, to clarify some of the terms of a retail pharmacy and a community pharmacy. What happened was there was a lot of confusion about the essential service role of a community pharmacy and what category community pharmacies are. Sometimes they were considered a kedai runcit or a store, and sometimes they were considered a health facility. So there was a lot of work that we had to do in order for us to be recognized as a center for essential services. And this is what the community pharmacists were so instrumental as frontliners. They were frontliners during the COVID pandemic to provide as much support and assistance to the public that at the time were very, very anxious. As you know, Mr. Santa, during the pandemic, a lot of patients started to visit pharmacies because psychologically they felt that it was safer than going to a place that may have ill people. So this is what the community pharmacists did. They even put their own safety at risk, such that we had to produce the COVID-19 pandemic guidelines produced by Mr. Amrahi, Mr. Jack, and a fellow pharmacist from MPS to support the various standard operating procedures that community pharmacists should adopt in their community pharmacy to safeguard their safety as well as to safeguard the safety of their consumer, the customers. So as you heard, there was the coordination with agencies to get our recognition for essential service. There was also the pandemic guidelines produced. And one of the other areas, if you can remember way back around June, July, was the face mask issue. At one point, it was calamity because people couldn't get face masks. Community pharmacies were running out of stock. So what we initiated was a face mask project. This face mask project was a project that was able to actually reach out to as many as 1,400 community pharmacies. Every community pharmacist that applied to receive the face masks were delivered or were able to collect the face masks at the Malaysian Pharmaceutical Society, and as many as 140,000 face masks went up. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to have a look at this view of this slide that has been put up here. This is actually a visual of all the community pharmacies that were involved in the face mask project by receiving the mask as a way for Malaysian Pharmaceutical Society to say a big thank you to all our community pharmacists for being our frontliners during this pandemic. So, Mr. Santa, that is some of the initiatives that the society took and continue to strive towards assisting all pharmacists in Malaysia. Thank you.
Thank you, Datin. Puan Hafzan, as an academician who is also actively involved in the vaccination program, do you think we as community pharmacists are fully prepared to handle vaccination issues and it involves the whole supply chain from the manufacturer to the patient? Over to you, Puan Hafzan.
Right, thank you very much, Mrs. Santa, for the kind introduction. And thank you, Rhazes Telepharmacy, for this initiative discussion on the hottest topic, which is vaccination. So with regards to the question, whether we as community, sorry to say I'm not a community pharmacist, but as community pharmacists, are they fully prepared to handle vaccination issues or not? But first, let me ask the participant with one question. Maybe you can write in the chat box. So what was the first thing that came across your mind when you heard the term handling vaccines? So please do write in the chat box so that the organizer can highlight me on it. But we can go proceed with the next one, which is, I think that some of you would have actually were thinking about cold chain, right? Like that is the whole supply chain from the manufacturer to the patient. So basically we say about handling of vaccines. And some also might be thinking about vaccine reconstitution. So how can we shift this paradigm of thinking on the expanding role of our pharmacists, that handy vaccines are more than that? So, a bit slow. Okay. So to answer your question, are we ready for, first is to understand that our existing role and the expanding role as a pharmacist. So according to the International Pharmaceutical Federation, data from 2020, in at least 86 countries, pharmacists plays a role in vaccination advocacy, awareness and advice. And in at least 36 countries, they play an active role in administering the vaccines. So this latter role has been proposed or is actually in undergoing development in a further 16 countries, also in our country, Malaysia. So one of the key levers is actually to increase the vaccination rate across people so that so that we can actually help in preventing the vaccine preventable disease. So this is actually to see how significant role that a community pharmacist can play in. So in view of the current pandemic or in the preparation for future pandemic, it is imperative that the community pharmacists should expand their vaccination pathway. So we have been always, when I actually joined a workshop that was organized by Ministry of Health. So the main concern at that time was handling with cold chain. So basically you should know where to store, what is the, what is the e-perolehan number and so on. But then it was later to an educator. So we need to be an advocator. We need to educate people. We need to encourage people about vaccination. And now our plan in MPS is actually to go forward to a vaccinator or becoming an immunizer. So if you look into the, like Datin had said, that MPS has done a lot in collaboration with MIAC to proceed to this direction. So we always emphasize on getting ourselves ready first, because if by that time we are not ready, then what are we to offer to the government or to the public? So the inclusion of community pharmacists and vaccine immunizers among Malaysian population should help in the mass vaccination program by right in phase 3. So why is this a concern? Why we put it in a role that you need to know how to advocate first? Because basically, in order for you to advocate something, you need to know what it is all about. So if you do not understand what you are doing there, then it will eventually, defeat the purpose of becoming a vaccinator. So at first, we will try to make sure that all the pharmacists is equipped with the knowledge, okay, the correct knowledge with facts and figures and so on. And then they will be able to practice by ongoing certain types of modules or training that can actually equip them with the skills on how to vaccinate. Vaccination does not only stop until you jab the patient. So you also need to know what to counsel the patient, what to look into afterwards. Because we do know that community pharmacists are the frontliners, right? So even for me, I'd prefer to go to a community pharmacy rather than to go to clinic first, because it's easier to go there. And as mentioned by Datin, the fear of the illness that is lingering around the clinic is much more, much more higher than the expectation if you go to a community pharmacist, right? Datin? All right, so basically from here, what we say is that, I can say that it's actually halfway there, because we are not only focusing on, we are not only focusing on the aspects of, are we prepared, okay? Because you're asking whether can we handle this, which means can we handle the vaccination? So are we prepared? That is the first thing that we need to ask. And I'm not a community pharmacist per se, but we are educating the community pharmacists in a way that we are educating in the academic as well, and also in the community pharmacy setup. But in the term of halfway there, when I say that, is that we need to reflect on the level of readiness, okay? The level of readiness of confidence on this issue. So hopefully that since pharmacy, MPS and also USM are working on it, so we do help that we are all joined together under one platform, under one umbrella, that we can actually expand the role and become a vaccinator or an immunizer in the near future. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Hafzan. As we continue the forum, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Rhazes Telepharmacy for this kind initiative to bring in a very important topic to us today. So for any inquiries, you can always contact Rhazes Telepharmacy on the WhatsApp number. Okay, as we go on to the third question, Puan Hafzan, over to you. How was Malaysian, the MIAC formed to be a formidable chapter of the society. What's the story behind the success of MIA, Puan Hafzan?
Okay. All right. That is very interesting question. I like this organization chart. Okay. So basically, MIAC, we actually started in a WhatsApp group. Okay, it was just called Vaccine Advocacy Group, right, Datin? Because we didn't have the name yet. It was called Vaccine Advocacy Group. So the person that invited me was Associate Prof Haniki, which is the chairman, current chairman now, and I'm very thankful for that. And the good thing about the start off, which means that we were inculcate, all of us were inculcate with the spirit of to make sure that we can commit to it. So basically, commitment is one. And then we also need to make sure that we are very translucent within each other. So we need to be honest with whatever that we are doing in the committee itself. So basically, in a brief, this MPS Immunization Advocacy Chapter is actually a professional group of pharmacists that was created or was actually created in the WhatsApp group on 25th February of 2019 with the aim of advocating for immunization. So we were advocators at that time. So this original group was later renamed as MPS Immunization Advocacy Chapter, which is MIAC now. So the members are actually coming from pharmacists from various fields of academia, such as me and Datin, we are from academics, also our chairman. And then we also have pharmacists from a community pharmacy and also from the government side. So if you look at the the organization itself, which I'm going to share later. So some might say that we are actually quite a big group, right? If you look at the pictures, they're like, we are quite a big group. So who's going to do the thing and everything? So actually, I'm very proud of our education and advocacy group, which is led by Tanzi Shan, that he is very good in, to make sure that we are in line in what we are saying and what we are posting on Facebook or what in any platform, so that we have a very, references that we are going to highlight to people. So this, the group itself also does not include only the MPS, newbie people. So we also have other people from other chapters, if you look at it, like Susan and from Shafra Nadia.
We're having a short technical error, Datin.
Yeah, I'll just continue from what Puan Hafzan was stating, that the MPS Immunization Advocacy Chapter comprised of students as well, and very energetic young pharmacist chapter representation to design many materials that were actually available at the MPS website, because the resources were very gigantic tasks to produce material that was vetted and was current, and we encourage all to go there to that site. Yeah.
Thank you, Datin. Puan Hafzan, anything to add?
Sorry. I'm like suddenly I was like, am I talking to myself? Okay. All right. So basically, true what Datin said, because we encourage young people to join. Not to say that we did not neglect our the golden generations. No, they are actually quite good in advising and directing us where we should go. So with this collaboration, we actually had moved forward to a lot of things that has been done in the chapter itself. So some of the things that has been done, if I can highlight here, Mr. Santa, is like the call for pharmacists in Malaysia to are they qualified to immunize? So if you know that even for MPS, they already identified several immunizers in Malaysia, which is pharmacists that are qualified to immunize. They are either certified from UK, US, New Zealand, or Australia. So those are the pharmacists that is actually in Malaysia currently now. So they even get a straw poll of pharmacists agreeing to be vaccinated. This straw poll was actually done by February 2021. So I'm not so sure how it is going to be like now. So last time it was roughly about 89% actually agree on being vaccinated. So I do hope that we are all agreeing on it. So hence that's why we can actually become the person who advocates for it. So we do have the policy of walk the talk in our MPS chapter. So MIAC chapter. So if we are actually advocating for it, we need to do it, or we need to actually walk the talk, as I said.
Yes.
So if you need further inquiry about MISC, we will later share with Rhazes Telepharmacy, if possible, the email that you can actually send your questions, or if you have any ideas or you want to get involved in it, which is very encouraged by us. So please do so. We do hope that you can join and help us to make the team grow.
And I would just like to add as well that one of the initiative was to look into the vaccinating of pharmacists, and it required a mammoth task of getting all the area committees involved, the MPS area committee as well as MIAC, to try to, MPS proactively got an initiative of producing registration lists for pharmacists and their staff in the community pharmacy that would like to be vaccinated, and a proposal was put forward to the relevant authorities so that pharmacists will be considered as the first included for frontliners to be covered. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Datin and Hafzan. I think most of the community pharmacists are grateful and thankful to Malaysian Pharmacy Society, or MPS, under the leadership of Encik Amrahi, because as in Perak, they've started vaccinating the frontliners, pharmacists. So a lot of us are happy and excited about it, and I think we're very, very, very thankful. I think I share what the other pharmacists in Perak feel. Okay, we are thankful to MPS and thankful to you all for your great initiative. Okay, as we go on to the next question, what do you think will be the future roles of MIAC? A short opinion from both of you all.
Okay, I'll just give a bit of, I'll just try to give a bit of our hopes and desires for our future roles, and then Ms. Puan Hafzan will also continue. Basically, we see that the community pharmacists are now in a position to get more trust from the public in terms of new roles that they play, expanded roles. As we know, a couple of years ago, community pharmacists were mainly suppliers of medication. But today, we are very much involved in many aspects of pharmacy services, especially with our aging population, especially with our lifestyle conditions. Pharmacists play such a vital role. And one of the main future roles is to look into not only the COVID issue, but also to cover, as they do in United States during emergency situations, the need for certain vaccinations. And maybe this is where community pharmacists in the long run will be able to be one of the major contributors in the national healthcare system. So we hope that our roles will expand, and to that endeavor, I would like to pass to Puan Hafzan a very exciting program that is planned.
Okay, before we start to the exciting program that is planned, okay, so basically, if you look at it, like Datin said, there are certain things that we are not mentioning here, like what we have done. Sorry. Oh, okay. Right, so basically, there are certain things that has been done, belakang tabir lah, we say, right? Behind the scenes. I'm like trying to find the translation. Okay, so behind the scenes. So if you do not know the team, you might not love the team. So how can I do this is I would like to actually highlight on things that has been done before we actually see what are the ongoing things. So I'm very proud to be a part of the team. Again, I always say this, is that because the chairman and also the president is actually quite involved in this matter. Plus, we have the help from FIP and FAPA, because Mr. Jack Shan Lim is on board as well. So these are the things that actually help us to go stronger, because we actually send a lot of letters, not only to the Ministry of Health, but also to MOSTI, and also we even sent to FIP FAPA a bit earlier on to get their recommendation that are we actually, to consider ourselves as a frontliners one, and to consider ourselves as someone who actually will contribute to the society and public. So letter was sent to the DG of Health, the Deputy DG of Health. Letter was sent to MOSTI about the why are we not being the first one in the phase 1. And then we got a lot of replies as well. So hence, from there, we were very glad we actually were quite joyful on that day when community pharmacists were included in phase 1. So all of us were like very happy and so on. From there, what we can see is that we do not only stop there, okay? So there are a lot of being done by MPS itself, like trying to get the, free waiver for the rental fee, and also like the rental fee relief, if I'm not mistaken, right, Datin? Yeah. So, and then also currently, because I understand that some of the CPs are not yet getting their vaccines because of this glitch issue of it. So all of the community pharmacists, I applaud all of the community pharmacists around Malaysia that they are very helpful as well, the AC and also the chapter from each of the states. This is actually very quite proactive. So when they do this, it's actually help us to grow, to make sure that our profession as a pharmacist as one. So we do, as I would like to recall, is that we do know that we need to work as one because our profession in general is pharmacist, regardless whether you have a community pharmacy at the front or a clinical pharmacy now that there's a fight between the name, right, Mr. Santa? So, and then you also have like this, compounding pharmacists and so on, but you still have the word pharmacist there. So please make sure that we do work in alignment now. So what I'm going to show later is actually the ongoing and upgoing work. Let me share this so that you can see what are the things that we have done and also on what are the ongoing advocacy work that we are going to do. So basically, all of the members in the chapters, we have, like, as I mentioned, we have education, we have advocacy, we have those that actually help us to prepare all the infographics, which you can find in the MPS Facebook and MPS YPC and my PSA. And then you can also see that we have our own tagline, which is Be Wise, Immunize, or also Vaccine Pilihan Bijak. Okay, so these are things that we can actually use. And then also pharmacists as immunizers. So these are the things that we would like to highlight here. So again, as you can see, we do not only go towards the platform that is normally being used, Facebook, or like Zoom, or WebEx, and so on. But we also go for Shopee Talks. The first one was done by Uhui Chi, I think, previously, right? The latest one. And then we're also planning for a virtual run. So there's a committee for virtual run that is ongoing. And then we also have campaigning to universities. So such forum on COVID-19 vaccine. So the one that is conducted by Rhazes Telepharmacy is actually very in line with what we are doing now. So we need to share all of the experience on vaccination. So I do hope that even though your name is not in the team MIAC, right? But as long as you're a pharmacist, please make sure that you advocate on vaccination, and please make sure that you tell the truth about vaccination. People are afraid when they do not know the truth. I always use the phrase, tak kenal maka tak cinta. So they need to know what exactly is vaccination, what exactly that you're going to face when you get the vaccines. So other than that, one of the action that they're going to do is delisting the adult vaccines and COVID-19 vaccine from Group B to Group C, which has been like a long fight, right? So we are also proceeding towards that. And also for those pharmacists that actually got the injection from vaccination, we do applaud and we do hope that you can actually even use the tagline from MPS YPC, which is I got my shot campaign. So those are the things that actually were done by the MPS IAC. So another thing is that coming soon, access will be open by end of April, hopefully. So there will be an ongoing one-stop page on the MPS website. So this is hopefully would help all of you to get a much more centralized data. So we do not want you to, as you know, right? We have been learned during our 4 years of studying BPharm about evidence-based medicine. So hopefully that this would help you to get more understanding on the evidence-based medicine. And another thing that I think maybe highlight, Datin, you can highlight this if you want.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just want to share with all pharmacists across Malaysia and also public that are here today, that the public health role of the pharmacist is very, very crucial. But sometimes as community pharmacists, we are very, very sort of lacking in the opportunity to collaborate. So one of the associations, which is the MyPSA, as well as YPC, they actually organize many public health events. And that is where we can continue as pharmacists to do our vaccine advocacy work, to talk to the public about our identity, our roles, and so on. And what happens is that there are many, many Facebooks But just for us to identify, there is the MyPSA, Malaysian Pharmacy Students Association, which is a student chapter under MPS. It is, and another one, of course, is the Young Pharmacist chapter, YPC. So we really would like to see more and more involvement of pharmacists in the YPC, and of course, even after graduation from MyPSA, to be continuously involved to create to create the image of pharmacy in society. Yeah, the image of the pharmacist will change the landscape of acceptance for pharmacists. When the public knows our role, they will find our services of paramount importance, and that's what we're striving for. Okay, so social media, we got to also, as you know, it's all about the social media these days, but we've got to give real, clear evidence and work as a big society. Thank you.
Thank you both, Datin and Puan Hafzan, for your elaborative information. We are going to take a short break. As we are taking a break, just to remind y'all about the polls at the end of the forum. Are you ready to be a vaccinator? For all community pharmacists, please do participate. So at least we have a sound decision to be used by MPS. And second, don't forget your CPD points. There'll be a QR code, scan on it, and the information, the explanation will be there. Okay, by Rhazes Telepharmacy. So we'll take a short break now. Thank you. Beyond. Okay, welcome back from our short break. We go on to the next question. The next question is the topic itself. We have seen many countries like Philippines, Australia, Canada, where community pharmacies are vaccinators. In a nutshell, it means that we can administer vaccines just like any other healthcare professionals, such as doctors, registered nurses, and medical assistants. Do you think our CPs, our community pharmacies, are ready and will be ready to vaccinate the population, Datin?
Going on a conversation that we had with some pharmacists from UK, several pharmacies, even in Malaysia now, they have actually undergone a vaccination program training in their countries like UK, Australia, and Canada and US. And actually, with the right course and the competency assessment and the very, very heavy undergraduate degree, I think all community pharmacists are able to vaccinate if given the opportunity. I think that our background in our educational training has been preparing us for this. And also, we will have the opportunity to have those who have been have had the course to also be helping us with the training program. So I think we're ready, and I think we first have to get vaccinated ourselves before we can start to carry out that job. Okay, Hafzan?
Thank you, Datin. Puan Hafzan, anything to add on that?
Okay, I do agree on what Datin said about the training. If you look at that, like example, like Philippines, right, they are currently rolling out their immunization training program. So we are actually having one of our FIP member that is there also in MEIAC, which actually had the opportunity to attend the talk and also the launch. So we are actually also looking at what they are doing there, aside than what we are doing here. So maybe I can highlight one thing is that we are also from MPS side with collaboration with USM. We are preparing an event, which is the preview. Okay.
Thank you, Puan Hafzan. Thank you, Datin. And we have come to the final question of the day. Will the vaccination role, actually this is a soalan Cepu Emas, bring about the much needed recognition to the community pharmacists in this country? We are all waiting for your answers. Hopefully you can give us some motivation. Both of y'all, Datin, Puan Hafzan.
Okay. What was the initial part of the question again?
Will the vaccination role bring about the much needed recognition to the community pharmacists?
I think every day, whatever we do in our work when we are dealing with the public brings us that recognition closer. Of course, vaccination is a very, very close area to work with the patient. But I think that I think we just have to say it here that pharmacists have very defined roles already. It's a question of us performing that role that we have, to be advisors. One of the things that happened in the beginning was when we were in the immunization chapter, we were trying to find out from our family members how many of us are getting excited about being vaccinated. And even among our own family members, we could not even get their full support unless we start talking to them, unless we start telling our fellow family members the importance of vaccination. So even as a community pharmacist and as a pharmacist, this role of always advocating for our professional role of advising on health should go on. And that's, I think, when patients and the public see it. Doctors are always available, and I think we are also going to have to be available and accessible to people. Okay, vaccinating roles, of course, but just remember we are doing a lot of community pharmacy work every day. Thanks.
Puan Hafzan?
Okay, can I share something? Like it's like a sneak preview. Okay, so basically, can I share it already? Okay, so if you look at the slides, right, we are actually looking forward towards the World Immunization Week to 2021 on 24th, 26th April until 30th April. So this immunization week is actually a collaboration between MPS, between USM, and also between all the all the people that is in there. So within there, it will be launched. There will be a launch of certified training program on immunization for pharmacists. I understand there's a lot of people actually inquiring this, right? Datin and Mr. Santam.
Oh yes, a lot.
That's why we are very. I am actually very secretive about it. If you ask the team, I am very secretive about it because we want it to be a quality product per se, or a quality
Yes.
before it is being given to the pharmacist to use it. So if you are not familiar with an online platform or MOOC or Massive Open Learning where you can actually use it to get certified, so you might ask, like, are we going to get certification? Who's going to accredit it and so on? So basically I can answer here is that the accreditation is done by USM. And also we have internal reviewers and external reviewers to check on the content of the modules. So we have two phases. So the first one would be more of a didactic lecture or lessons that is online using the open learning platform, and then followed by the on-site training. So we are still discussing on the on-site training on how to mobilize our pharmacists or trainers to actually train the pharmacists around Malaysia. Because at the moment we're also looking into how Philippines are doing it, because Philippines are actually doing it online. But we are trying to make sure that whatever it is, the process should be of quality and it should be of transparency. So we will try our best to be transparent about it, but you need to wait until the launch, which is on the 26th of April, which is going to be done online. So that is a QR code that you can actually have it, or we can actually post it later. So please do join us during the World Immunization Week on 26th of April. But we also have other activities throughout the week that you can also join. So there will be several posters coming in. And again, on behalf of MISC, as I mentioned, we always need to know that in order for us to be able to vaccinate or be able to advocate our cause, we need to be ready. So in order for us to be ready, we need to have the ilm or the knowledge. So if you don't have the knowledge, then you will not go anywhere. So hence, if I wanted to highlight one more thing, is that actually Mr. Tan Zishan actually did a pre-registration survey on who actually wanted to be in the MPS immunization module. So out of 360, 99.7% actually said, or we can actually say about 100% said yes and interested to register. So please, if anyone has any question about this, you can even email me or contact me about it. So I will try to enlighten you as much as I can. But as I say, please wait until 26th of April to see what is it all about. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you both. Thank you, Datin, Mariani, and thank you, Puan Hafzan. Anything else to add before we proceed to the question and answer session?
Yeah, I'd just like to add, Mr. Santa and Puan Hafzan, as community pharmacists go towards more patient-oriented roles, there will always be the need to professionalize the premise, as well as even consider indemnity, indemnity insurance. And so happy to report that Malaysian Pharmacist Society is looking into all these governance issues, and we are going to be able to call upon these important structures to be there, like in professional indemnity and all this, so that we can carry out more patient-oriented roles. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you both, Datin and Hafzan. Now we go to the question and answer session. Our first question we have got here. Has MPS got any initiatives to convince anti-vaxxers? Who wants to answer the question?
Yeah.
Either Datin or
okay. This
Puan
is,
Hafzan?
okay. Shall I go first, or you, Hafzan? Is it okay? They'll always. Yeah. I don't think that we should. Putting labels on people, judging people. I think we should get close to people. The ones who are really disagreeing with us, even more so, we have to engage with them to put forward our message, for them to sort of see our viewpoint. And I can say that everything that happens in terms of designing materials, taking into consideration people's perception, pharmacists, we have to almost become like mini psychologists, Mr. Santa, you know what it's like when we are in teaching profession. We almost like become a psychologist. So we have to get close to people in order for them to be able to understand our viewpoint. So anti-vaxxers will always be there. However, we have to educate ourselves as well on the best information. So, things like social psychology, the Boltzmann effect, all these things, we just have to read up. Yeah? And anything else, Puan Hafzan?
Okay.
Ponazan?
I was just mentioning about the initiatives.
Am I in back?
Yeah, you're back.
Yes, yes, yes. We are waiting for you.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. So basically, as I said, sorry, I do not know what happened to the network connection today. Okay, so it's something, yeah, like I said, when you do not know, you'll have some fear, right? And when you become ignorant, you will not be in another place, which means you will not upgrade yourself. So in a way, for MPS, we do not have specific advocate through all level, as Datin said. We approach everyone, we approach all level, so that that's why our message is very easy to understand. If you look at the MPS YPC or MyPSA infographics, they are very straightforward, so that when you understand it, you'll know better. Another thing is that sometimes you understand, right? When you look for information where you do not know, you sometimes just stop there. So in our practice is that we always offer for people to ask. Hence, that's why we encourage all the community pharmacists to be the one that is actually offering their services to help to make them more understand more. I understand the term anti-vaxxers is very sensitive, so hence that's why we say more of like a positive way, like a pro-choice, which means they have a choice to choose whether they want or not. So our choice as a pharmacist is to actually help to make them understand, and the decision is still up to them. So if you do not convey it well by hikmah, as I've always been reminded, then people might even be reluctant, more reluctant towards it. So yeah, that's what I can say about it.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you, both Datin, Puan Hafzan. Okay, we have talked a lot about community pharmacies, what MIAC has done, and then what MPS has done. So all the pharmacies, there'll be a lot of questions on the mind of the community pharmacists. So what do they do now? What can they expect now? So can you all just give a brief guidance? What's the next steps will be?
Well, what they can expect is the very interesting immunization week that's coming along. And also, hopefully, they will engage in the series of CTPIP, yeah? The immunization course, as well as continue to access the resources, the website of MPS. What they can expect is that MPS will continue to always serve the interests of all pharmacists. And one of the initiatives to get pharmacists more and more recognized in the community was to recommend to the authorities that pharmacy become one of the sites for registration. So what can we expect is actually we would like more and more of the community to access a pharmacy, community pharmacy, as a healthcare center, a healthcare facility. So in the beginning, the clinics were considered sites for registration. So we said, community pharmacists, we hope you will also become a site for registration. So this is one of the activities community pharmacists would hopefully be able to engage in. They can meet more of their consumers, their customers that walk in, and we can help, especially the vulnerable group, the aging group that do not like to use the mobile application. We can actually register for them. So this is what to expect, is always also where we want to lead. we have to be the changers. So if we want to see changes in our profession and our pharmacy development, we have to engage, and we also have to be the agent. So that's what we can expect. Thank you, Mr. Santa. And Puan Hafzan, anything else to expect?
Okay. I couldn't agree more. Datin has already wrapped up everything. So yeah, as I said, we have to understand the pharmacist role is evolving.
Thank you, Datin.
Before this, yeah. So it's like lagging. Okay. I couldn't agree more with what Datin had just said. Okay. But as I mentioned, all of us have to reflect on ourselves and reflect on the profession. I myself have learned about how pharmacists evolved from only product oriented to more of a pharmaceutical care or patient oriented, and then from there, even including the community pharmacists, like that they said before, this is like, is it like a kedai mencit ke? Like you sell drugs only, or just like, because you also sell like sometimes things that are not drug related. And we changed the shift of thinking on that community pharmacists can do more. Community pharmacists can add the value of your service, because as I said, even for my parents, sometimes they prefer to go to a community pharmacy rather than to go to a clinic, which is something surprisingly for me, because yeah, you know, sometimes elderly prefer to go to the clinic rather than to go to something which is like new, right? Hence, I can see that the community pharmacists are really moving forward in Malaysia, and looking at being in several WhatsApp groups that has all the community pharmacists, I can see how actively they are. And as I said, we need to make sure that we work together, because this is not one fight role. It's not a silo, I would say silo position, right? I think I have never met that before this. I have never met all of the committee members in MEAC before this, but then I realized that some of them are my students. And like Associate Prof. Haniki is actually my lecturer. So these are the things that actually help us to move forward. So hence goes to community pharmacists. Don't be scared. Don't say that you are alone, even though you are actually an individual community pharmacy. But as I mentioned, we are working together. So whatever that needs to be highlighted, that needs support from MPS IAC or MPS per se or MPS CP, I do encourage you to reach out, so that we can even utilize or work together with your ideas that can actually help for the betterment of the profession. So yeah, I do hope that's added up to the question.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Datin. Thank you, Hafzan. That brings us to our final question, a personal opinion. How do you think MPS will engage the public in terms of halal issues regarding vaccines? Are there any plans, strategies?
We are so fortunate to have our president MPS as a halal consultant. He's an expert in the area of halal that works a lot with the the industry. And actually from day one, when advocacy chapter started, immunization chapter started, there have been so many webinars. There's been an explosion of webinars. Apart from Shopee, that we're all familiar because Shopee is about shopping, but there's been a lot of forums, webinars, and the beauty is that it can be conducted online. So there has been a lot of contribution about the halal topic by MPS, and further strengthened by official fatwa, and also many messages delivered by the government on the fact that the vaccine can be administered to the patient during the fasting month. You can receive the vaccine, because it is halal. So I think that is what we have to keep on encouraging. Those who already want to be vaccinated but are worried, we have to assure them. Pharmacists are all about assuring and allaying the fears of the public. So that's our role. Okay. Anything else, Hafzan?
I think that they wrap up everything already about the halal situation. But as I mentioned, please look also on JAKIM, and also from we have our the good thing about the WhatsApp era is that you can share everything there. and it will be validated whether the information is actually correct or not. So when it is there, you can also highlight on the mirror from the government. So there's a lot of information about the halal issues. And also, as Datin mentioned, we also have our own halal consultant in our team that actually also enlighten on it. And he has been on a lot of webinars about halal issues on vaccine as well. So you can actually have a look at it as well. Yep.
And community pharmacists are in the community, so they play their role. Yeah, they are going to engage with the members of their community to talk further about halal. Okay.
There's an additional one more question, final question. Actually, it's an interesting question because it's a questionable question. How could the COVID-19 vaccine passport done and involved by community pharmacists? Will the vaccine passport conducted by community pharmacists recognized by the international government and travel agencies? Your opinion?
At present, the Poison Act 1952 does not allow for such a confusion about the role of government and private sector. So we are not supposed to be advocating. Yeah, we're not supposed to be advocating for this passport vaccine. I think that unfortunately the world is not very fair. There is a question about distributive ethics, whether just because you can pay for something that allows you to start to do things. I think we should be more societal in nature and to follow the lead of what the government is actually encouraging. Sometimes if this idea is perpetuated that there is a vaccine passport, I think things could be very, very dangerous. That's just my opinion.
I couldn't agree more, Datin. People, as you've mentioned, I think people will misuse certain things, right? So that's why we always have to make sure that we go by the acts that we are adhere to, right? And then from there, we will see how it is. Please do not make actions based on your own judgment. You need to know that there are certain things that is within the limit of the law. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Datin Mariani and Puan Hafzan. A very interesting discussion, a very interesting forum with wide range of opinions, slides, and some of it are eye-opening information regarding the role of Malaysian Pharmacy Society and Malaysian Immunization Advocacy Chapter. Although there are many, ladies and gentlemen, although there are many pharmacist people who are claim to be championing the role of getting CPs to be vaccinators, getting them to be vaccinated, getting them to be frontliners, I think the real champion is MIA, Malaysian Immunization Advocacy Chapter. Bravo to them and a grand applause to them. And we must thank Malaysian Pharmacy Society for this initiative. And I'm sure all community pharmacists will be grateful and thankful to them. And we look forward to a more domineering role from MPS, especially the Community Pharmacy Chapter. Datin Mariani, are you listening?
Of course, it is the most interesting chapter.
Yes. We were really, and we are very happy, community pharmacists, we are very happy to see MPS playing a dominating role, and a meaningful role in championing community pharmacists. And we are also thankful, grateful. And I hope, ladies and gentlemen, you all are happy with the forum. And we must thank Rhazes Telepharmacy for bringing this forum, and they will be bringing many more interesting forums to you on various aspects that related to pharmacy practice and to the public with their range of professionals. So with that, I end this forum today. Thank you, and don't forget to complete the online polls. Are you ready to be a vaccinator? And to get your CPD points by scanning the QR code. And also for further information, you could contact Rhazes Telepharmacy for any further future events that you are interested. Thank you, Datin Mariani, and thank you, Puan Hafzan. If you have any parting words to say.
I'd like to say, stay safe. Pharmacists all get vaccinated. Encourage your family members to get vaccinated and take care. Stay safe.
Thank you. Puan Hafzan?
For me, stay safe. Stay at home. Cannot anymore. Stay safe. Just make sure that you get yourself registered for vaccination. And the pharmacists should try as much as we can to advocate for vaccination. Salam Ramadan.
Okay, stay safe, everyone. I'm also waiting for my vaccination shot. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you make me wanna talk back to you. Say it like that. If I hate you, then find someone new. Baby, but you know I never will. No, so I choke you down just like a pill. Take you like a fill you like a pill to get my fill. No, do me in the worst way. Don't let me sleep, never say sorry. Oh, maybe I'll leave, baby, but you know I never will. No, so I choke you down just like a pill. Take you like a pill.